Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone. My name is Amani binti Ibrahim, and today I'll be covering a topic on hand skills in children. So, as we all know, hand skills are a very important aspect or is very critical in the interaction with a person with the environment, especially in children. So the hands allow the children, especially, to interact with another person and also to be in interaction with an object. So hands can be called as tools that are used to accomplish a task, to do works, or to feel the sensory texture of things, and also to use as a play and also to perform daily life activity. So usually the child who have disability that affect their hand skill will have less opportunity to gain sensory information from their environment, and also they will have a problem or discomfort, or we can call they might have a problem in performing their daily life activity as a whole. So going on to our topic, so today we will be covering about contribution of body function to hand skill. For example, how a visual skill will affect the performance of hand skill in children, how somatosensory function, sensory integration, visual perception and cognition, skeletal integrity, and also muscle function, how this aspect will affect the performance of the hand skill of the children. And besides, we also will be covering about the type and pattern of grabs in children. So going on to the first one, which is the visual skills, how it contributes to the performance of the hand skills of the children. So it says here that visual skills play a major role in the development of visual function. We can't deny that visual skills are one of the most important thing or most important aspect in helping a children to perform their hand skill. So under visual skill, usually it is by the age of 4 months, children usually can begin to move their hand to start reaching or to grab on an object under the visual control. Means they see the object and they try to take it. So that's why visual skill can be said as a major role in the development of visual function. So visual also is very important as the infant learns new fine motor skills or when they are performing activity that requires highly precise and also accurate movement. When they're performing something very precise, for example, inserting beads and inserting thread into a beads, they have to focus, they have to pay attention on the object that they are doing. So that's why visual skills is very important, and they did contribute to the performance of a hand skill of a children. Next one will be to number the second contribution of body function to hand skill, which is somatosensory function. So somatosensory meanings it is related um, to how a person feel a sensation. For example, how a person feel a pressure in their hand, pain, the heat, or the warmth of a thing, or they feel the texture of a thing, like for example spiky, soft, slimy, and such. So what the sensory function is play also a role that are critical in the development in many areas of children's hand skills, particularly those involving the isolated movement of the fingers and the thumb. So children with impaired control of finger movement usually have limited access to somatosensory information, and or the impaired control of finger movement may reflect the difficulties in perceiving and using sensory information. For example, in holding a pen, we need to first feel the pen, and only that we know at which part we have to hold it. Um, if we do not have the sense, the tactile awareness of holding a pen, we might have difficulty in holding it. So under somatosensory function also, usually a good somatosensory function are associated with a good hand skills. However, if someone have an intact somatosensory function, if it is does not necessarily yield a good hand skill, especially in children. So under somatosensory function also, it help the children to improve, to have their tactile awareness through the discovery or through the feeling of touch to their environment or the things around them. Now going on to the third contributor of the body function to the performance of skill of the children are the sensory integration. So the type of sensory integration problems most likely to influence hands use are sensory registration problem, tactile hypersensitivity, poor tactile discrimination, and also dyspraxia. So usually, children with poor sensory registration engage in a few activities involving hand skill compared to those with normal sensory registration function. So, for example, if the children appear with very poor sensitivity, they may have a tactile hypersensitivity, so these children may likely to avoid to touch or to be in contact with a certain object, which will be limiting himself from the exposure to various objects. Hence, the development of their hand skill will be less compared to those who have a normal or who do not have any sensitivity towards certain objects. Next, going on to the fourth contributor of the body function to performance of hand skills in children, are visual perception and also cognition. So, as we all know, visual perceptual development and also cognitive development of children, in particular, are very difficult to isolate from one another. So, it's very related to each other. As usually they are very related to the object handling skills in children. So usually the children's perception of object characteristic, movement speed required, and also power needed will affect his or her ability to effectively control an object. And cognitive development also influence and is supported by the development of hand skill. For example, here is that when children juggle a ball in both hands, so that he have to alternately move one hand at a time and move another hand also at the same time. So in this skill, they have to really acquire a very good visual perception and cognition and how to juggle the ball together on his or her hand. And also, the child usually acquires knowledge about the object through object manipulation. So when they see the object, they manipulate using their hand. Then only they know how to use their hand to manipulate it and to use it for their desired action. And also early manual exploratory behavior also play an important role in the development of the visual spatial skills of the children and also in helping them learning about their own environment itself. Now going on to the fifth contributor of the hand skill of children, which is the skeletal integrity. So the integrity of the hands, joints, and also bone structure is an important consideration in the hand function of children. So, meanings, for example, if the children appear with congenital hand anomalies, means that they might missing one or two fingers from their hand, it definitely will affect how the person perform their hand skills function in the daily life activity. They might have disability or may have problem in grasping, in their prehension pattern, in holding the things around them in their surrounding. Furthermore, any of the problems also that have a reduced range of motion (ROM) in children will also most likely to affect the child's ability to grasp larger object or to flatten the hand to stabilize materials that they have. That's why skeletal integrity is very important and definitely will affect how children perform their hand skills function. And now we're seeing about the sixth contributor of the hand skill. This is the last one that we will cover under this topic today, which is the muscle function. So usually muscle function is cover the aspect of muscle strength, the power, about the muscle tone, and also about the muscle endurance. So sufficient strength is very necessary to initiate all type of grasp pattern and to maintain this pattern during lifting and carrying. So that's why the child that have a diminished muscle power, diminished tone, and also diminished endurance may have difficulty in performing their hand skill. It will be affected due to their condition compared to those with a very good muscle function. Now we will be seeing about the general developmental consideration for children in performing their hand skills and in their daily life activity. So usually in performing activities like in handwriting, in carrying for object or reaching for object, children must develop good motor control, their proximal, the distal motor control in performing the activity as mentioned before well. So for normal functioning, joint must be able to stabilize at any point in the normal range of motion (ROM) to move within a small, medium size, or large segment of range. So during most hand activity, for example, in grasping or in manipulating in an object, the proximal joint, which is the one that are more closer to our body, must be stable while the fingers are moving. However, in carrying, it's vice versa. It means the distal joint must be stable first while the fingers are moving. So another general developmental consideration for children, especially in nature handwriting, is that their elbow, forearm, and also wrist joint are usually relatively stable, and also the shoulder and the finger joints are mobile. So this is the kind of aspect that must be looked into as a consideration when a child is performing their activities or the tasks or their daily life in their daily life activity performance. So next is about the development of hand skill in children itself. So as therapists, we must supplement our theory on the intervention or on the assessment that we're giving on the children about their hand skill. We must supplement them also with the observation of the normal or typical development of children, especially the enhanced skill part, compared to those who might have differences in the development, for example, children with some kind of disability. So here are the example of hand skill in children that we will cover today, which is about their development in their reach and carry, and also in their grasp pattern. Now we will be covering about the reach and carry skills in children, which is the first one is reach. So, as is stated by Roseblood, Roseblood stated that reach means in the reaching movement, the goal is to transport the hand to the target with precision in both time and space. So, in reaching, so the development of reaching usually described in terms of changes that take place in the control and speed of the hand movement toward the object. Mean when they see the things that they want to take the children itself. So when they move their hand, and also when they in their preparation for the hand to grasp. So all this movement or all this action are classified under reach. So here I make simple understanding about how rich skills are developed in children, which is the first one is developed with visual, means the children see first what they want to take or what they want to grasp, and then they will reach with their extended arm towards the object that they desire. And then usually the kids, the first skill that we use that they might develop first is unilateral reaching, means they only use one hand to grasp on the thing that they want before they using both hands to grasp on the things that they want. And the last one, the end of the development is that the child perhaps will be able to use the mature reach to reach for the things that they want. Now that we already covered about reach, now we'll be seeing um, about how the developmental of the children in carrying object in their hand. So carrying, or some people may say that it's as moving or lifting, is involve a smooth combination of body movement accompanied by stabilization of an object in the hand. So when children are carrying something that involving using object that are used in most occupational activities, the small ranges of movement are used and adjusted in accordance with the demands of the activity. So the child must be able first to hold the forearm stable while in any degree of rotation, and he or she must be able to modify the forearm and also wrist position during the carry so that the object remains in an optimal position when they carry the object. So now that we already covered about reach and carrying in children, another development of the hand skill of children that we will see is about the grasp pattern. So on the grasp pattern, it actually have some view that are different on the classification of the grasp pattern itself from different researchers. The first one we will see about the classification by Napier. So Napier proposed two basic terms to describe hand movement, which is non-prehensile movement, which is involving pushing or lifting an object with the fingers or the entire hand, and also prehensile movement, which means grasp of an object and may be subdivided according to the purpose of the grasp, which is precision and power. So the prehensile movement usually it focuses more on the precision and power when handling an object in your hand. So precision grabs usually involve the position of the thumb to the fingertips of our fingers, and also the power grab usually involve the use of the entire hand, made from the thumb, where it is flat or abducted, and depending on the control requirement of the movement through the activity itself. So next one will be seeing another description of the grass pattern. So you can see just now Napier has stated a little bit different type of classification of grass pattern, where he described the movement as the prehensile and non-prehensile movement. So Weiss and Fab describe a slightly different method of classification, of grasp pattern. So once I classified the grasp pattern into two groups, which is the grabs with no thumb opposition included, including hook grabs, power grabs, and also lateral pinch, and the pattern that use thumb opposition, which is tip and palmar pinches. So under palmar pinches, it's further divided into standard pinches, spherical pinches, cylindrical pinches, and also disc grab. So we'll be going to see one by one on this type of grasp pattern in children. So going on to the first type of grabs that we will see today, which is hook grabs. So hook grabs used when strength of grabs must be maintained to carry an object. So observation of this pattern provides an indication of the child's ability to sustain wrist extension during finger flexion. So this is type or example of hook grabs pattern in children. You can see here, the children is carrying a plastic bag and also holding on the pail. So the hook grabs, usually the child will, in hook grabs, they will flex all their fingers to hold onto the object, and usually they will use the thumb and flex over the flex finger to provide more power to carrying a heavier object. Then the second type of grabs is power grabs. So in power grabs, it is used to control tools or other objects. So observation of this pattern usually allows for assessment of the degree of the radial ulnar dissociation in the hand that the child can use, and his or her control of thumb adduction and also extension. So usually in power grabs, the child will put pressure of the object, take control of the object by putting it the control more on the radial side or the ulnar side of their palm. So in power grabs, usually it put more power on the grabs itself compared to other type of grab. So this is type of example of power grabs that you can see, which is brushing or combing the hair. Next, we're going to see about lateral pinch. So lateral pinch used to exert power or with small object. So this pattern involves controlling of the index finger while adducting and flexing the thumb. So this, as you can see in the picture, is a type of lateral pinch that usually be used by children, which is holding on to the key to open the door. Now we're going to see about the type of pinches that involving the thumb. So in which is standard pinches. So in standard pinches, it further divided into three type of pinches, which is the opposition from the thumb to the index finger peg, refer to the index of the finger peg, which include pad-to-pad type of pinches, two-point pinch, and also pincer grabs. So on the opposition from the thumb to the index and the middle finger, it usually includes the three-point pinch, or also known as three-jaw chuck grabs. And to now third type of the pinches under the standard pinches, it is the opposition of the thumb tip to the tip of the index finger, forming a circle. So this type of pinches are called as the tip pinch. Next, going to see another type of pattern in grasping, which is spherical grasp. So in spherical grasp, it includes the stability of the longitudinal arc, which is necessary to use this pattern to grasp larger object. For example, you can see at the picture is the child is holding on the rugby ball, so it's big, and that type of grasp are called as spherical grasp. So the observation of these grasp patterns suggests that the child's ability to balance control of their intrinsic and also extrinsic hand muscle. Next, going on to another type of grabs, which is cylindrical grabs. So cylindrical grabs is the type of grabs that we usually use and see in our daily life activity. So on the cylindrical grabs, the transverse arc usually flattened to allow the fingers to hold against the object. So observation of this pattern allow for assessment of the palmar arc control during the handling of a relatively large object. So this is the example of cylindrical grabs that you can see. So the person is holding on to the jar. So the type of grabs, you can see the shape of the hand movement are almost similar to the cylindrical shape. Going on to the last type of crabs that will be covered today, which is disc crab. So this is also a type of crabs that we usually use in our daily life activity. For example, if you can see the picture in opening a jar or opening a bottle, for example. So this pattern involves dissociation of flexion and extension movement and use a combination of the wrist flexion with MCP and also ICP flexion of the hand. So children also use this kind of crabs daily in their movement of activity of their daily life. So now we already covered the topic on the hand skill of children. Here are the references used to make this slide. So thank you so much and have a good day, everyone.